taking that oath of allegiance, becoming a police officer provides you with an enormous amount of authority. Probably the most intimate form of government the public will ever deal with is the police. The fact that they could suspend your Charter of Rights and Freedoms, they could use force against you, they can do things to you that could forever upend your life, your family's life, comes with a high, specific need to be accountable.
The fact is that right now, our front line is responding far too frequently to situations which forces them to make life and death decisions. The training we receive is some of the best in Canada, and when faced with these critical decisions, our officers will fall back upon that training. They react exactly as all police training dictates when lives are in danger.
This year alone, at least 9 former and current officers are facing criminal charges. Among them, assault with a weapon, bribery of an officer, breach of trust, improperly storing a weapon, and these are only the ones we know about.
Put that in!
You have a culture of people who are used to being authoritarian. They're used to being right at all times. They're used to sort of living the traditional values. I'm the boss, you're not, therefore it's okay for me to yell at you and treat you like that. That is inherent in our decades of culture, those kind of norms and rules and behaviors.
Once I started reporting on certain issues within the Calgary Police Service, then it's almost like sort of the floodgates open and people come to you with information that they have, thinking that you might have the connections or the expertise to start looking in, investigating, tackling some of the issues. Police announced that 3 of their own are being charged in an excessive force case against a man named Clayton Prince, who they had tried to conduct a traffic stop on. He had run away from them.
Hey!
I mean, I had been involved in calls where if the offender ran, and it would be like a thing where you would make a group decision. If that guy runs, you give him some extra punches so that he's not gonna screw with the cops again.
3 Calgary police officers are facing a range of criminal charges after a violent arrest this summer. It left a 34-year-old Calgary man with broken bones and a collapsed lung, and it was all caught on video.
Native male, black sweatshirt, blue jeans.
The incident had only come to light, had only been investigated once this dash cam footage surfaced. You can see Clayton Prince run sort of across a front lawn and get down on his stomach with his hands behind his head. We watch as Othen lands on the back of Clayton Prince and begins to punch him in the head. And then the video just cuts out. That had to have been done manually. He had broken some ribs, he had had a collapsed lung, he had had a key shoved into his neck.
Right. Now, what you saw here did not happen.
That's okay. Yeah, I know.
Guys decide to dismiss street justice.
Yeah.
If that guy in the white van was videotaping this would not be very well.
Yeah.
Because when he is surrendering, he's getting down on the ground. and he gets fed a whole bunch of chit-chat.
That's something where as a recruit, you think they're gonna call their officer coach out and say, hey, that's excessive force. No, they're gonna follow what they do and then carry that on throughout their career.
We got her back at
The officers are charged with assault, but it's the public mischief charge that is most disturbing to Alberta's police watchdog.
The fact that they lied, to suggest that a person committed an offense that they did not commit and potentially subject that person to the criminal justice process and potentially imprisonment is extremely serious.
So the 3 officers charged, in the end, the judge said in her decision she didn't necessarily believe their testimony, but she was left in reasonable doubt. And so 2 of them were acquitted. James Otham was found guilty. He's appealing his convictions.
The issues were discussed in court, so I mean, they bear their own responsibilities for the behaviors. But I look at it from the chief and say, how many times did a supervisor see that behavior? How many times did a manager or a peer see that kind of evolving behavior and said nothing, or did nothing, or maybe laughed at it or walked away?
I worked around a lot of people that would use excessive force, and I'm ashamed to say I never stood up and said anything, but I was nothing short of afraid. I was afraid that, I mean, number one, I already was a female, so I had that going against me, but now a female who speaks out. I had also seen what happens to people who speak out against those who are heavy-handed, who use too much force. And so I didn't say anything when I saw incidents like that happen. It's common, and I think it still is common, because who are you going to believe? Someone in uniform who's trusted and instilled with this level of respect and trust to serve the public, or are you going to trust a low-life criminal that they're saying, oh yeah, I was beat up?